All right, in this lesson, we're going to look at the unadjusted trial balance. We did talk about the trial balance in the last section, but in this section, we're actually going to combine some of the information that we talked about in the last section, as well as this section, and putting it all together. So that's what we're doing here is we're going to kind of complete our trial balance after we've done the asset, liabilities, and equity section, as well as the revenue and expense section. So with that, let's get started here. The unadjusted trial balance. So what is the unadjusted trial balance? Well, the unadjusted trial balance is a listing of all of the accounts and all of their amounts in debit and credit form. So literally it's every single account a company has, and then its debits and its credits. And at the end of the day, the trial balance should balance from both a debit and a credit side. Now, this is the example that we did in the last section in section 2. We talked about after we do the journal entries, we post them into the individual T accounts. And in those T accounts, we would summarize the results of each one of the accounts. When we're done with that, we take the ending balance and we throw it onto what we would call a trial balance, okay? So that's what we did in section 2. So this comes from section 2, not necessarily from here. Now, we're not going to show you in this section how we post them to the T accounts and how we get them to there. To here, because we have a video on that or a lesson on that in section 2. So if you need to know how to post transactions into a T account and then get to this point, I would check out videos in section 2. But here we've got the trial balance. Now, what else do we already know? Well, we already know in this section we did 8 transactions, the journal entries that are on your screen now. Now, what we would normally do, although we haven't done, is we would take these transactions, post them to the T to get their amounts. We're going to skip on to that and go straight to the trial balance, but that's what we normally do. So when we post these to the T, we would then have some new balances, of course, utilizing the trial balance that I just showed you a minute ago. And then when we do that and post all of these transactions to the T accounts, we would get a new unadjusted trial balance. And that's what's on your screen right now. So these are the trial balance. This is the trial balance. It's unadjusted because we haven't made adjusting entries. That's another section, okay? So this is an unadjusted trial balance. Notice that everything in yellow are things that were changed or added in this section because of the 8 transactions that we did in the last 2 lessons. So everything that is not in yellow is just a copy job from last section's trial balance. So the 825 in supplies, I can actually go look at last section's trial balance and I can see that supplies was 825. Notice here cash is 40,425, but at the end of this section it's now gone to 47,700. Why? Because we brought in some revenues, we had some expenses that increased the cash amount. So that's what we're seeing here. The unadjusted trial balance in section 3, after we've inputted all of our revenue and expense transactions that we did in the last 2 lessons, looks like this. How do we know that we did this right? Our debits equal our credits. So our debits are 71,790. Our credits are 71,790 as well. Okay. Now, a complete unadjusted trial balance should have assets, liabilities, owner's equity, dividend, revenues, and expenses, and in that order. So it should have all of those components. Now, there are situations where we might not have things. So we might not have dividends per se because we didn't issue any dividends. That's okay. That's okay if we don't have it. But if you notice that our unadjusted trial balance in this section, it's much longer. Why? Because it has revenues and expenses. Now, what about if we don't make any sales during the year? We don't have any revenues. We don't have any expenses. Then sure, it's only going to look like what I showed you in section 2, your assets, liabilities, equity, and that's it. And that's fine. But generally speaking, a complete unadjusted trial balance would have everything, starting with your assets, then your liabilities, then your equity, then your dividend, then your revenue, and then your expenses. So this is a complete unadjusted trial balance, okay? So that's what an unadjusted trial balance is. It is a completion of all of the journal entries a company has done over the year. In section 2, we only showed you a partial, or we only did a partial trial balance because we didn't show you how to do revenues and expenses yet. In this lesson, this section, we're actually showing you the revenues and expenses. And because of that, we have a complete picture of what the unadjusted trial balance looks like. And that's what it really should be at the end of the day. As we go forward, we'll talk about adjusting entries and closing entries. And that's going to change the trial balance because those entries are going to affect the trial balance based on the journal entries that we do. So that's the unadjusted trial balance. Hope you enjoyed this lesson. We'll see you in the next video. Hey guys, it is Patrick. Don't forget to press the like button and share this video with someone who could get a lot of use from watching this lesson, like maybe a classmate or maybe a friend or maybe just a parent, just because you wanted to share this video because you're very excited about what you saw. Share it with someone. And if you want to help us grow and help us make sure that we put the very best in accounting topics out on YouTube, make sure you press the subscribe button and turn on that notification bell. That way you're alerted every time we post videos to this channel. Now, I do this with every one of my classes at the end of class. What did you learn from this lesson? Put that in the comment section below and I'll respond to you on what you got out of this video. So hope you enjoyed this video and we will see you in the next lesson.